All right, guys, what's going on? So I want to talk about bulking and cutting and like what I'm going to be doing because I think a lot of people are confused. And a lot of it's also in context. You got to remember, bodybuilders that are bulking and cutting, they're bulking and cutting for competition. If you're looking at weight classes for specific competitions and events in sports like wrestling, right? That 5 pounds makes a difference. So when people are doing these like super huge cuts, where they're eating like nothing for 3 days. That is not what I'm doing. I think that's super unhealthy, and any athlete in those sports will tell you it's not sustainable, it's not something you can maintain, it's not healthy. And bodybuilders, I mean, they know what they're doing is not healthy. They're doing it for their competition, and then they're done. Like, they will not maintain sub 5 or 7% body fat, sub 10% body fat for a year on end. There's very few people that do that, and a lot of them are on steroids. I believe in there's the few genetic anomalies, so we're going to keep those outliers out of the equation when it comes to people training for bodybuilding competitions and people that have extreme genetic advantage, I would say, where they're very low body fat percentages. Keep in mind, it's not everyone's advantage. Being at a low body fat percentage is not an advantage to everyone. It's not everyone's goal, so that's not what I'm saying at all. I just wanted to talk about some research I did, some body fat calculators, some scales, and what the whole argument of calories in versus calories out will mean. So I want to keep it super short. Basically, science says, and in almost every study across the board, you have calories in versus calories out. So I eat 1,000 calories, I burn 1,000 calories, I gain no weight. However, then you have exceptions to the rules. So someone who is bedridden that eats, let's just say their exact BMR, basal metabolic rate, the rate you need if you're bedridden to stay alive per day, but they have no activity whatsoever, their body is still burning calories because it burns calories to stay alive. So you got to keep that in mind. Basal metabolic rate is literally to keep your body functioning. It takes energy, calories, to blink. It takes energy to sniffle, to sneeze, to talk, to fidget, to type, to talk, to breathe, to digest food, to keep your heart pumping, all those things. So basal metabolic rate is literally my body staying alive. That is not including NEAT, which is non-exercise calories, so like fidgeting, walking, daily activity, getting up and going to the bathroom, making dinner, walking in the mailbox, getting in your car, getting out of your car, moving groceries, like all those things are non-exercise. So it's not a direct physical activity. So you've got like your NEAT calories, you got your BMR, you've got thermic effect of food. So how much does it take to burn to actually digest food? And they say that thermic effect is something that you really don't need to worry about unless you are, again, a bodybuilder. So here's what I'm going to do. From now until mid-April, we leave for Aruba April 18th. So am I trying to look like a supermodel? I mean, no. I'm 5'4", and I look like a small linebacker. Huber? No? I think I'm pretty square in shape and shoulders. I'm kind of stocky, I've got bigger legs. I've got strong shoulders. I've got a pretty good muscle mass. I think, what is it here? Out of my 141 pounds, I am, where's my mouse? 107 pounds of my body's muscle mass. So that leaves only 40 pounds for skeleton and water and all the other stuff. So, I'm pretty muscular. I'm pretty in good shape. And I want to see this argument about diet. So every variable needs to be kept consistent in order to train this question or this hypothesis, right? So I did some numbers. I ran some numbers. Here's my basic stats. If you care, I'll write them all down. But I'm 22. My birthday's in December, so I'm 22 in 3 months. My body fat is 19% at the moment, and how I calculate my body fat, you have skin calipers that you can use body impedance, the little scanners, you can use a scale of body fat, you can use a My Body, and I have access to one of those at a couple different gyms, including Lifetime. And I have a scanner at my house. I have scanners at both Burns. So I do like to take averages because the numbers, there's always room for error. So I think that InBody is probably the most accurate. The most accurate total would be if you did the density where you actually dunk yourself in a tank. What's that called? It starts with a D. Can't remember. It's irrelevant. But I'm just about 19%. The highest one says 19, the lowest one says 18. So I'm between 18 and 19% body fat. My fat-free body weight, 114.8 pounds. Subcutaneous fat, 16.9%. Visceral fat, 6, which I don't expect to change. 55.6% water. Skeletal muscle, 47.2%. Muscle mass, 107.8 pounds. That's the one I'm really curious about, that, and body fat, which is the one that's most likely change. And according to our scale, which is a fit index, my BMR is 1,494 calories. So that's how much I need to stay alive if I were bedridden. According to my Apple stats and a lot of my own calculations here, on average, in the year 2021, I burned an average of 1,025 calories a day. And in total, I burn between 2,300 and 3,100 calories per day. And keep in mind, that includes my BMR, that includes my activity, and my NEAT. So on my double days, when I'm at burn for 2 shifts, and I'm working out that day, that's where I'm in that 2,800 to 3,100 calorie burn. On my day, let's just say it's Wednesday when I'm not at burn, and it's an off day for my training, those happen to link up, which sometimes they do, that's when I'm closer to that 2,400 burn mark. So just about average per day, for me to maintain my weight and not gain a pound, not lose a pound, I need to eat just about 2,000 calories. We're looking at about between 2,000 and 2,300. That's on the upper end. So realistically, I have been eating and tracking my food since the new year. So I have been eating between 1,800 and at most 2,200, I think was my max, maybe 2,300 calories a day, usually falling in that 18 to 2,000 range. So my energy is pretty good throughout the day. I definitely take my afternoon nap in between shifts. But here's some other numbers for you if this is important to you, and I do want to keep these consistent. Exercise minutes per day, average is 133. Cardio fitness, 37. VO2 max. I'm interested to see if I gain weight, if that changes. My distance travel per day is about 5.1 miles. Average steps, about 15,000. Sometimes I get in that 20,000 range on the double days, and then other days I'm closer to 12,000. So my walking average heart rate, I'm a pretty anxious person, so my heart rate's usually up. Even my resting heart rate is between 92 and 128. My resting heart rate at the lowest is about 54, and at highest 67. And I do wear 2 trackers. So I've got my Apple Watch, so cool, my Apple Watch and my Whoop. So my Whoop is kind of like tracking my recovery mainly and my strain per day. So it's definitely a little bit more cardio geared. It doesn't really get a good assessment of strength. It often says my strain is like a 6 when I feel like it was about a 15. The max I can get is 21 because I'm dying. But it's because my heart rate's not getting up super high for a really long time. It's for one short burst of a heavy rep or 6 heavy reps, and it comes down on my rest period. So, my recovery average in terms of sleep, I'm not a very consistent sleeper because of my schedule with burn, but my recovery average is 64%. My sleep performance is 72%. So on average, I'm getting about 72% of the sleep I need. And the quality of my recovery is determined by my resting heart rate, my HRV. If you want to know more about that, just comment and I can send you some articles and explain. But according to this, my BMR is 1390. So what I did was I went through 7 different studies. I went through BMRcalculator.com, which put it at 1390. I went to Jeremy Ethier. He's like a great trainer, YouTuber, and he provided the Caton McArdle calculator, which is just 2 scientists. And that calculator is BMR equals 370 plus, in parentheses, 21.6 times your lean body mass in kilograms. And then the other calculator is your weight times 10 to 13, 10 if you're leaner, which is where I'm at right now, 13 if you're older or in higher body fat. So those calculators put me at 1420, 1496. MyFitnessPal put me at 1385. Active.com put me at 1471. WellFit.com put me at 1550. Or 1450, and then 1470 for BMI calculator. So obviously, these calculations are estimates. So you got to look at it. And so I did all 7 studies, averaged them, added them all up. And according to this, it would be 1,450 for my BMR. So I want to remain in a calorie deficit in a fat burning zone because I want to see this calories in versus calories out. Next 30 days from now until April 18th, 17th, 18th, I will be eating clean. We do a ton of veggies, stir fries. I make pretty natural sauces and things like that, such as, like a lemon tahini, the Tex-Mex made with cashews. We don't eat a ton of I'm going to try to keep out the processed sugar. And that's something that we like struggle with because we like our desserts. So I'm going to try to clean it up as much as I can. I'll track it all, let you know how I'm doing week to week, and we'll see, does the calories in versus calories out actually matter? Is it really the number, or is it the value or the quality, not quantity, of the calories? So certainly in my mind, it makes sense that calories are energy, right? So 1,000 calories of a donut and 1,000 calories of kale, they're both 1,000 calories, but their makeup is different. So it takes more, if you look at like thermic effect of food on the other end, it takes more energy to break down protein. So people who are on higher protein diets tend to be more satiated, number one, so they're more full, so they tend to eat less. And their body, it takes longer and it's more effort to break down. So that thermic effect of food bumps up. So as long as, let's just say, you're in a deficit, you're eating high protein, you're working out daily, you're getting quality sleep, you have all those check, then that high protein will really come into play to help bump up your metabolism slightly and increase your calorie burn because of the thermic effect. So does food quality matter? If I'm vegan, so if I were eating like a carnivore diet, which I will never do, but if I was eating a carnivore diet, would I somehow lose more weight? I don't think so. I do eat a pretty high protein diet now. I average between 120 and 170 grams of protein a day. On my non-training days, I still get always over that 100 mark. I believe that when you're trying to gain muscle mass, you should be eating 1 gram of protein per pound of lean muscle mass, so not how much you weigh. So right now, my lean muscle mass is 107.8 pounds. So I need to be eating at least 107.8 grams of protein a day, which I always hit. Sometimes I get even further over 130, 140. And because I'm trying to put on muscle mass and I'm on a building program right now, it's called Old School Iron by Jeff Cavaliere. It's a 4-month program. Month 1 is a full body split, focusing on the heavy lifts, barbell overhead press, barbell bench, barbell squat, and barbell deadlift, with accessory lifts. The second month is more of a mix of the strength and hypertrophy work. So you've got the heavy lifts with accessories. So there's like for push day, you got your bench press, then you got a chest, shoulder, tricep section. The pull day, you've got the deadlifts and then a pull, back, biceps, and traps section. And then legs, you got your legs, and then a quad, glute, hamstring, calf section.
And they're awful.
And they're awful. The workouts are terrible. They're unbelievably difficult, and I want to die. But all my numbers have gone up. If you're wondering about my current stats, my absolute max on a squat was 210. Max on a deadlift 255, but kind of shitty, so we're calling that 250. And then on an overhead press was 90 pounds, and on the bench was 160. 165 I failed. At the bottom I've got some like shoulder shoes, and I was feeling that a lot today. And I think that my overhead press is the one that I love the most, but doesn't progress the best because the overhead motion, you don't have a ton to use. The bench doesn't move for me as quickly. The deadlift has definitely increased a lot because that's a much more technical movement. I've increased a lot in my form. And then squat actually has been feeling a lot better than it was because I've been dealing with some like hip mobility issues. So essentially what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be following that program throughout. It's going to be moving into more of like a hypertrophy phase and doing a shredding program also through Jeff Cavaliere. So 2 workouts a day, 5 days a week. And 6 days for the lifting, but 5 days for the shred program. So it's like 2 conditioning workouts a week, maybe 3, and 2 strength. I'll get back to you. So that's pretty much it. What else did I forget? I think that's it. So that month,
the program's hard. It's awful.
Yeah, the program's really hard. The workouts are really hard. They definitely kick your ass. So I'm gonna be kicking ass in the gym, kicking ass at Burn. Like, definitely gonna be wiping the floor with my members. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I love you. That month will be the kind of shredding, eating clean, and then still trying to shred and gain muscle mass while eating garbage in the next month. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll go into summer a fat kid. Maybe I'll go into summer looking swole. Who knows? We will find out.